Welcome to today's episode of Furniture Industry News on October 16th, 2024. In this episode, we'll be covering the latest holiday sales forecasts, important updates on Conn's bankruptcy, and news about Wayfair's warehouse closure. Let's dive into these key stories affecting the furniture industry. The NRF is predicting a modest growth in holiday spending, expecting it to increase between 2.5% and 3.5% compared to last year. In real numbers, that means total holiday spending could reach anywhere from $979.5 billion to $989 billion during November and December. One of the bright spots in this forecast is online shopping. The NRF expects online and other non-store sales to grow even faster, with an increase of 8% to 9%. This could push online sales to nearly $298 billion, up from $273 billion last year. Now, you might be wondering what's behind these numbers. Well, the NRF looks at various economic factors when making these predictions. They consider things like consumer spending habits, personal income, employment rates, wages, and inflation. They also look at previous monthly retail sales to get a sense of trends. It's worth noting that this year's holiday shopping season is a bit shorter than usual. There are only 26 days between Thanksgiving and Christmas, which is 6 days fewer than last year. This compressed time frame could impact shopping patterns and overall sales. Another factor that might influence holiday spending this year is the recent impact of hurricanes Helene and Milton. Natural disasters can sometimes affect consumer behavior and economic activity in certain regions. Interestingly, even though the U.S. presidential election falls during the holiday season this year, the NRF says it's nearly impossible to measure its impact on spending, so they're not factoring that into their predictions. Despite some challenges, the NRF remains optimistic about economic activity in the second half of the year. They believe that household finances are generally in good shape, which could drive strong spending. However, they do note that households might be a bit more cautious with their spending this year. For those of us in the furniture industry, these forecasts give us a general sense of what to expect this holiday season. While overall growth might be modest, the strong outlook for online sales could present opportunities for furniture retailers with a solid e-commerce presence. In a significant development in the Conn's bankruptcy case, Jefferson Capital Systems has emerged as the successful bidder for the assets of Conn's HomePlus and Badcock Home Furniture and more. Their $360 million offer went unchallenged, as no other qualified bids were received by the October 11th deadline. This outcome means the planned auction for October 15th was canceled, and Jefferson Capital has been designated as the successful bidder. The next step in this process is a hearing scheduled for October 24th, where the court will consider approving the sale of these assets to Jefferson Capital. For those unfamiliar with Jefferson Capital Systems, they're a major player in the debt buying industry, ranking as the fourth largest in the United States. They also have operations in the UK and Canada. If the sale gets the green light from the court, the acquisition is set to be completed no later than February 20th, 2025. This timeline gives some clarity to the future of these well-known furniture retail brands. It's worth noting that Conn's filed for bankruptcy back in July, and their stores are currently in the process of holding going-out-of-business sales. This development with Jefferson Capital could mark a significant turning point for the company and its assets. For furniture industry professionals, this news highlights the ongoing challenges and changes in the retail landscape. It also underscores the importance of staying informed about major industry players and their financial situations. As we continue to monitor this situation, it'll be interesting to see how it might impact the broader furniture retail market, including potential shifts in competition and market share. Stay tuned for further updates as we approach the October 24th hearing and beyond. Let's talk about some news from Wayfair. The online furniture giant has announced plans to close its warehouse in Florence, Kentucky. This closure is set to happen by the end of 2025, and it will have a big impact on the local workforce. Wayfair says that 218 employees will lose their jobs because of this closure. The company plans to start laying off workers on December 31st of this year, and will continue to do so throughout 2025. The facility in question is pretty sizable. It's a 20,000 square foot building that has been operating for the past 5 years. What's interesting about this particular location is that it's not just a warehouse. It's also been serving as a retail store, which is a bit unusual for Wayfair since they're primarily known for their online sales. This move by Wayfair is part of a larger trend we're seeing in the furniture industry. Many companies are adjusting their operations, often by closing facilities or reducing their workforce. It's a sign of the ongoing changes and challenges in our sector, especially as more sales move online and companies try to streamline their operations. For those in the furniture business, it's worth keeping an eye on these kinds of developments. They can give us clues about where the industry is headed and how companies are adapting to new market conditions. And that wraps up today's episode of Furniture Industry News. We hope you found this information valuable for your business. To stay up to date with the latest developments in the furniture sector, make sure to subscribe to our podcast. We'll be back with more industry insights in our next episode. Thanks for listening.